DC Multiverse!
G'day super friends, welcome back to my channel. Today we will be reviewing the DC Multiverse Gold Label Mr. Miracle action figure. The Son of Highfather comes, as usual, in your regular McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse action figure packaging, with the nice boxed window at the front, Mr. Miracle New Gods on the side, and a beautiful piece of artwork on the back. And here he is out of the package, scot-free. My absolute favorite of the new gods of the fourth world. He comes with this trading card, which is the exact same as the back of the box. Here is the back of the trading card for those who are curious if it has one. And oh look, the bio is now really close, so you can pause to read that if you'd like to. He also comes with two of these arrow discs. These are the things that he kind of floats around on. Here's what the bottom looks like. Nothing special, just an R and an L. He also comes with an action figure base with the classic, but new again, DC logo on it. And of course we have the figure itself, the bit that we all showed up for. Here he is compared to two other versions of Mr. Miracle. This is actually the DC Universe Classics version, and it was a great figure in its day. And here is my custom version of Mr. Miracle. How did I do? I don't think I did too bad, actually. Like, quite often you do a custom and you're like, well, the real one came out, so I guess I'll just toss this one because I don't need it anymore, or, you know, I'll rework the parts into something else. But this one, actually, I think I'm going to keep it as is as well, and I'm going to pose it in my 1980s display. And then we see this Mr. Miracle with, on the left, the DC Icons New 52 version of the character. Not gonna lie, I was never a fan of that outfit. Always thought it looked kinda doofy. And what I'm pretty sure is the very first Mr. Miracle figure ever, the 1980s Superpowers version of Mr. Miracle. Let's see if he still has his superpower. Yep, still has it. After all these years, it still works. And just before we take a look at this guy in hand, I wanted to pop him up on the spinner so that you and I could take a closer look at all of the details on the round. We want to see all the colors, we want to see some of the details for the sculpt before we look at him in hand and up close. And so far, I am very impressed. And one more thing before I get this guy in hand, I wanted to compare him to Red Tornado and Alan Scott Green Lantern, because this is the third time that the cape that he is wearing has been used, and Scot-Free is made largely on the Alan Scott Green Lantern body. So that means the medallions that hold his cape on are exactly the same, along with, well, the actual cape itself, and the collar that sticks up, exactly the same. And you can see that, like, the torso and the ab section, like, a lot of the figure is reused parts. However, the belt area is newly sculpted, and I think they've done a pretty good job of making this a reality. I think this looks fantastic. So that's newly sculpted. And then you've got the glove area, which is newly sculpted. And as my friend Rob from Rob D Toys pointed out, they actually used the peg as the yellow spot on his comic accurate gauntlet. And also the boots. Those boots are newly sculpted pieces as well. So even though there's a lot of reuse, there's also enough resculpted or newly sculpted pieces to make this, well, you know, it's not just a repaint. And the overall color palette that they've chose, the bright red, the bright green, the bright yellow, all of these colors work really well together, and they really speak to me of what I imagine Mr. Miracle should look like. I think that this looks great. And it is the classic suit. This is a very classic version of Mr. Miracle's suit. I am so glad that they didn't decide to make this version. Up close and personal, Scot-Free's facial sculpt doesn't look too bad. I probably would have rather gone for a closed mouth for Mr. Miracle rather than the open smile, but I do understand why they went for the smile, because this is the character Scot-Free we're talking about here. The paint applications on mine could have been a little bit neater. Mostly I'm speaking about that smudge near the left-hand side on his mouth there, and around his eyes could be painted a little bit better, but for a mass-produced figure, I think that it looks pretty good. So then my next question here is, how articulated is Mr. Miracle? What are we looking at here? What can he and can he not do for being the universe's greatest escape artist? Well, the waist is very articulated, which is nice. Does that get in the way of his waist? Looking down, that works just fine, I suppose. His torso does a pretty good job of going around in a circle, and looking down, that's better than we get. That's back, and down. That's better than we get with a lot of McFarlane figures, especially when you put the waist in there. You can look down quite a bit. His noodle noggin bobbles around on that ball peg, and that's what we're looking at. Look down and up. Gotta try and keep that collar out of the way. Yeah, not so good up. Inside, he's got the green hinges. That's weird they chose green instead of red. You got these here socket pieces. You're gonna have a complete 360 bicep swivel. As always, I am gonna check the double jointed elbow, and the double jointed elbows go nice. Yeah, whoops. Oh, I pushed his arm off. This is a reoccurring thing on my channel. I was really pushing it to see how far in we could get his arms to go. There, just pop it back in the socket there. And of course, he's got the rounded hinge with the wrist that does the rounded hinge on a peg thing. And then down here we have his groin. Yep, that's what it is. And I want to check. You know I'm checking it, guys. Oh no. Oh, that's abysmal. I can get this to turn, but it turns out I can't get it to rotate any kind of thigh cut manner. Ooh, that is abysmal. And then, of course, we have Mr. Double Jointed Knee, which does this. And, oh, I forgot to check how far forward we can get his legs to go. So his legs go forward like that. They split out like that. They splat out like that. And they go back as far as his butt will let them. And let's not forget the ankle, which is on a rounded hinge, which is sunk inside of the leg. Down, up. Ooh, up is possibly not quite so good. My foot doesn't actually bend that much farther than that, just a little bit farther, which means either I suck at bending or this figure has a more realistic range of foot articulation. Of course, you have the toe articulation, and it is going to pivot. And that is the sum total of how articulated this guy is. So, what do I think of Mr. Miracle? Is it good? Is it garbage? Is it tubular or is it trash? Is it awesome or is it aw shit? Honestly, I absolutely think that if you see this guy hanging on the pegs when it comes out, because I got mine from China, so I got mine a little bit early. When you see it hanging on the pegs, don't hesitate, throw the thing in your cart and say, "You're coming home with me." And unless he escapes on his own out of your cart and gets away, dare I say, scot-free, you should probably add this guy to your collection. Anyway, that's all for me. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all with the next one. Have a DC day, everybody, and take care.